Nearly 40% of young people could be short-sighted by the year 2050, scientists say. The world is facing a growing epidemic of short-sightedness, and the future outcomes are blurry. If the past 30 years are anything to go by, more than 740 million children and adolescents may struggle to see objects at a distance by the year 2050, according to new estimates. The projections are based on global review, which examined the prevalence of myopia or short-sightedness using data collected from 50 nations as recently as 2023. Previous projections only considered data up to 2015, but even then it was predicted that half the world's population would be short-sighted by 2050. The newest analysis was led by researchers at Sun Yat-sen University in China, and it considers 276 studies covering around 5.4 million children and teens and nearly 2 million cases of myopia. Public health scientist Jingle and team found that from 1990 to 2023, the global prevalence of myopia in people ages 5 to 19 increased from 24% to 36%. Prevalence was highest in Japan, where 86% of children and teens currently experience short-sightedness. The nation with the lowest prevalence was Paraguay at just 0.84%. If eyesight among children and teens continues to worsen at the same rate going forward, the prevalence of myopia in young people worldwide could reach nearly 40% by 2050, exceeding 740 million cases. In Asia specifically, prevalence could reach nearly 70% by 2050. But what if the rate speeds up? Over the past 30 years, and especially after 2020, data suggests the prevalence of myopia has been increasing, and not just in few places. Previous studies also linked the COVID-19 pandemic with worsening eyesight among children. In 2020, for instance, researchers in Hong Kong detected a rapid rise in short-sightedness among 709 children between the ages of 6 and 8. While genetics undoubtedly plays a role in myopia, that cannot fully explain the recent surge in myopia cases worldwide. Even when a child has two nearsighted parents, a study found that if they don't spend enough time outdoors, the genetic threat of myopia increases to about 60%. In other words, it's good for the children to spend time outdoors so that their eyes can get used to looking far away. Playing outdoors is thought to reduce the risk of myopia in children, and during the pandemic, kids in many other parts of the world were limited to the indoors. What's more, school during the pandemic often took place virtually, placing students in front of screens for longer than is typical. This is particularly significant for preschool children, as they are in a critical period of visual development characterized by high plasticity, argued the authors of the recent global review. There is a need to gather data to measure the variations of myopia prevalence among the youth population over time, as there have been noticeable differences in both ethnicity and geography. In Africa, for instance, the prevalence of myopia among children and teens is 7 times lower than what is seen in Asia. No one yet knows why that is, but a correlation exists between the duration of education and the occurrence of myopia. In Singapore and Hong Kong, children as young as 2 or 3 years old actively engage in educational programs before formal schooling. So it's plausible that the earlier introduction to formal education practices at a younger age may influence the incidence of myopia during childhood, Liang and colleagues suggest. These findings are an important step towards understanding the trends in myopia over time, particularly in populations experiencing rapid transitions in myopia and the significant surge during the special period of COVID-19 pandemic. The authors argue it's imperative that we identify why myopia is increasing among young people and come up with evidence-based ways to prevent worsening eyesight in the next generation. The study was published in the British Journal of Ophthalmology And this is on Science Alert by Carla Casella. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Finally, support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.